Hey guys, welcome back to the Spector Creative channel. If this is your first time here, or many, I'm Scott Toy Guru Neitlich, or at least a Lego representation of him. And I've been very excited the last couple weeks because if you've been a frequent viewer of this channel, I just released my first graphic novel on Amazon, and it's doing awesome. It's actually doing really awesome. I'm really proud of it. Yeah, it's 14 bucks, 15 bucks. You should check it out. And I know there's been some confusion with the book and how it was drawn by AI, and I hold everyone else, to high standards, and so should I. I should get information out there. Now, now I obviously knew that there was going to be, a little bit of a pushback, if you will, over the fact that I used AI to assist on this comic. I mean, I'm not living in a cave, well, a man cave, but yes, I obviously am aware of pop culture and things like when Secret Invasion had AI do the opening credits, there was a lot of pushback. And, the same thing like how people won't go and view the Mona Lisa anymore, ever since it was revealed that Leonardo da Vinci drew it with a robotic hand. So, yeah, I totally get it. And in fact, I wanted to get ahead of this messaging because I knew there would be concerns. I wrote a very lengthy afterword about the AI art in the book. And I definitely encourage you, keep an open mind, check out the book. And yeah, if you have concerns about it, check out the essay I wrote about it. But I want to use this as an opportunity to not just go in a Wayback Machine and talk about, how this book was done, but really address how AI was kind of a partner in doing this. It's not like it was a machine that spit it out. So if you're familiar with this channel, you may have seen this image before. It's me in third grade, and I'm showing it this time not to establish that I played with toys as a child, but that back in the 80s when Rubik's Cubes were Rubik's Cubes, well, my family, when I was in third grade, moved from Cheshire, Connecticut to Irvine, California, in Orange County. And I started attending Bonita Canyon Elementary School. I got there midway through the year, and they were in the middle of a really important contest. A reading contest. And the way they mapped it out is every student had a little spaceship, and you moved along through the galaxy from the sun to Pluto. This was back when Pluto was still a planet. And during this, I discovered Greek mythology and just fell in love with it. I started tearing through every Greek mythology book. This one in particular really just, I think, solidified in my mind. And if you've never read Delory's book of Greek mythology, it's a great starter. And not only does it recount, the story of Zeus versus Titans, but there's some influences. You can definitely see how that book had a lot of direct influence on Myth Wars. But the story is what I was waiting for. So again, third grade, wrote a myth report. As part of that, it was a report based on our favorite book that we read during our solar system visit, but all 10 of mine were mythology books. I got hooked. And they all talked about the war against the Titans, where Zeus fought Kronos.
And there was much rejoicing.
I mean, heck, this battle is even the opening credits to Disney's Hercules. Should be Heracles, but that's a YouTube video for another time. But yeah, this was basically the story I wrote about in my reading report, my mythology report, because I wanted to see it. I wanted to see the story of Zeus versus Kronos for, domination of the universe. In fact, when I was writing this report, a very specific image came to my mind.
I fell off my toilet. I do this.
Okay, no, not that image. This image. An image of Zeus battling his father on a thin bridge above Mount Olympus Palace in thunder and rain. And this was the image that was basically in my head for years. All right, so fast forward to after college, and I just graduated with a film degree in screenwriting. So I thought, hey, I'm going to dust off Myth Wars and write it out as an animation series. And I did. And I actually had a lot of success shopping it around. Well, more success if it had been picked up. But the point being is, after about a year of shopping around, I went to go work in the toy industry. And part of that, for the large companies I worked with, required me to sign an agreement not to work on outside projects. Totally understandable, totally normal. So I did. And that meant that in order to work on some big toys, I had to shelve Myth Wars for about 10, 15 years, which I did, absolutely. But as soon as I kind of graduated from working in toys, I immediately hired Axel Gimenez, who I worked with on some comic books in the toy industry, to do character designs for all of my characters. I wanted to have him draw the entire book. We actually talked about even splitting ownership, but it just couldn't fit into his schedule, unfortunately. But I basically scrapped together every penny I had and paid him to draw as many characters as I could, especially because I wanted to show the breadth of the story and how multicultural it was going to get. Now, that's the thing, is I'm not, I don't exactly have a money bin like Uncle Scrooge. I had, and I still do have very limited finances. I don't have the money to pay someone to draw 221 pages. I was able to afford a cover and some concept art, and that was literally, I spent every dollar I had. That was it. And I tried shopping it around to have it drawn as a comic book using my script, showing Axel's art as proof of concept. I did it work for hire so that way I owned the art. And I tried really hard. But the thing is, if you can't draw, it's really hard to shop around a comic book. You can have a script, but everyone wants to see what it looks like. And unless you are an artist slash writer, singer-songwriter, and you can do both, Stan Lee aside, it's really hard as a writer to get a comic book made. So while I did rewrite the pilot as a comic book script, when it came time to actually making it as a comic on my own, it's not like I just, fed the script into a computer. Every single panel from my rewritten comic book script had to be rendered individually. And I rendered every panel at least 25 times because you would get a lot of stuff that was just unusable, like, slapping an S shield on Zeus's chest. I didn't ask for that, or who knows what this came from, but yeah, AI spits out a lot of unusable stuff. It's a tool that you can use as a writer to visually storytell, but you gotta have a lot of patience. So let me give you an example. I was trying to render a centaur, right? Main character in Myth Wars is a centaur. If you haven't read it yet, check it out. So asking AI to draw a centaur, I got this. I'm like, that's a horse. All right, let's try this. What is a centaur? Boom. All right. ChatGPT knows what a centaur is. So draw that, ChatGPT. And yeah, you'd think it would be as simple as that, but no. Then I would get an error. Like, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. Ugh. It's, trying again and again and again, still not a centaur. So for every panel in the book, and it's 221 pages of art, every panel was rendered at least 25 times, some hundreds of times. I did include a few sort of behind the scenes pages to sort of show how I did this, how every panel was stitched together, cropped, edited in Canva Pro. No image probably shows up in full. They're all like sort of pieces. It's like a patchwork that's knitted together, sometimes having to render different elements like wings and horns and backgrounds and layer them on top of each other. So there was a lot of, if you will, this was a partnership. This was, human me using AI as a tool to visually storytell. It wasn't using AI as a replacement for an artist because I spent every dollar I had on real art. And I'm glad I did because Axel does amazing art, but I didn't have the funds for him to draw 221 pages. I mean, it's just what it was. So this was my solution, was trying to use AI to visually storytell as a writer. And I understand, concerns about AI, but I would say, if you can keep an open mind, check it out. I am a very real person. This was a real script, and this was not something just done by, telling a computer to spit out a novel. It was a labor of love, and it took a long time. And it's on sale now on Amazon, so check it out, Myth Wars. Thanks for watching, thanks for sharing this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.